that Windrose wasn't that good. I think Chumpus is mad.
Chumpus isn't Californian, Kibbs, like you.
He's Californian. I fucking knew
He's
it.
not. No, you're
No.
Californian. You like pirates.
What the fuck? Californians don't like pirates.
They love pirates. It's their favorite thing ever.
That's not
No,
true.
he's in Minnesota.
True.
He likes pirates. He likes Somalis.
Yeah, good point.
Damn, they're different kinds of pirates.
The one export from Somalia land.
Look at me! Look at me! I am the pirate now. Look at me.
No, I think the ship combat is kind of mid.
Oh my god, you're the
Is
biggest
it
baby.
worse than Black Flag?
No,
It's on par.
it's better because it doesn't have that thing where you can like magically make cannonballs not hurt as much.
I just dislike that it's just health bars.
You're
That's why
just
Sea of Thieves combat's
a
better.
big baby. Biggest baby, chat. Who's the biggest baby?
Fucking
Type
Chump
in
ass
his
over here
name.
like Sea of Sneeds.
Type in
Sea of Thieves
fucking.
unironically has the best
Type in his name,
ship
chat.
versus
Type
ship
it in.
sail combat.
Type in Chumpa's big baby. As a collective, Groot, do it
Adversely,
now.
type in Kibbs' big baby.
No,
Type in
don't say
Kibbs'
Kibbs.
big
Bad bucket.
baby.
Big baby man.
baby.
No.
Has Gibbs even looked at any of the update news for this?
Oh, I'm gonna, you chunky little sow.
He
Big
has
doubt.
What do you mean I'm going?
Big
Stupid
doubt.
Nothing. Beat up Minnesota. No, making it illegal to report Somalians stealing money. What, they did? But that's just, how they are. They just steal money. That's what happens. It's like, gosh.
Gorsh.
Chumpus is from California. That means that he knows how to party. California, super cool to the
Yeah.
homeless.
California, yeah.
You've heard that song. We all have.
This is from you.
Yeah, because it's catchy. California, super cool to the homeless. They're super cool. To homeless.
To the homeless.
So take all your homeless to California.
Yeah. I wonder why they're homeless in California.
All right. So moving on to the Bunchcast of the day, we have a lot of good news and a lot of bad news. But we're going to start with some good news to prime you for the bad news we're going to hit you with. So, firstly, DORF, or Dwarf, Real-Time Strategic Conflict, was funded and did succeed its Kickstarter by a large margin. They raised a total of $302,000. And they did end up getting the additional programmer. So, the game will be basically getting 3 playable factions. It's got its localization for text and expanded voice acting, which honestly, really good. And more environmental zones, the co-op mode, and the big thing is that extra developer to help speed it along. So that's probably as good as it's going to get. Honestly, I think they were asking for quite a hefty margin there for $400,000 for a RTS in 2026 of our Lord, as RTSs are on the niche side nowadays.
I'm gonna disagree with you. Their initial goal was reasonable. Now, Darkhaven was shooting for the stars.
Darkhaven was like,
Darkhaven was 500,000.
We need $500,000. It's like, excusez-moi.
You're not getting that.
$500,000 was shooting for the stars. That's true. That's true. They
No,
only wanted
with
80,000 to finish this. 85.
Kickstarters. I'm pretty sure the best way to run the Kickstarter is actually to have a relatively low goal, because when people make that goal, then they're like, oh, it's already made. Yeah, I'll put some money towards it. Whereas when they see it has a low chance of succeeding, they don't even bother.
Yep, they don't even give it the attempt. That's why low goals are better goals, and because low goals are more attainable goals than lofty ones.
While having a billion stretch goals does have a very real risk of bloating your project and actually making it fail because you end up overpromising, going this method of stretch goals actually pretty much guarantees your success by having a low initial upfront cost and then like adding in the extra things you would like.
Back to my other point. So, like I was saying, it's still not that popular. It's an RTS. RTSs aren't that popular.
I love Dwarf.
I don't know.
5,370 people.
This has had very little advertising, Kibbs.
No, they're not. As an avid RTS enjoyer, I know that the genre's on the outbed.
Kibbs, that's done very well, especially with basically no advertising.
Like Cinder Solar Part 2 had a lot, and it didn't get hardly any.
Let me explain something to you, Kibbs, because you may know this, but the chat does not. When did they start this? This campaign. How
What?
long ago?
About a month ago?
hmm So what happens if it slows down and then they get no more money over like the next 6 years? Do you think that the
It's a
game's still going to
possibility.
come out?
Well, I mean, are you talking about like the thing is they're not getting crowdsourcing, right? So like, are you talking about like them getting a constant steady cash inflow? Because they're not going to receive
Oh,
another
this.
cash inflow after this injection.
Yeah. So the issue I see here is that $85,000 would have been fucking worthless if it took 3 years to do it because that's below minimum wage at that point
True.
to build this game.
So it means that $85,000, whoever was going to build it was building it themselves. Now, to be
Yeah.
fair to Kickstarter or the game itself, I think that they started this Kickstarter after being in development because they've been in development for like a decade now. They've reached a point now where they're close to the end, so to speak, and so this is just them trying to light a fire underneath it to take the rocket off, so to speak, so they can do it full time. Because if they're that close to the end of the game, because based on the trailer, all three factions are not only fully in, but like a lot of their units and stuff are in, which leads me to conclude that they're very, very far along with this game, meaning that it's pretty much playable. It looks playable as is. Now we don't know the state of like how the AI is or anything like that, but like this looks like a pretty much like in beta game, not an alpha, a beta, meaning that the game has all of its core features and mechanics. No more new features and mechanics going to be implemented at this stage, and that it's all about polishing before release. The beta stage. So I think that's why it's set to 85,000. Because I think they were going to launch within a year anyways. Because this looks pretty ready to go in terms of, being ready to play.
I would like the vehicles and stuff when they're moving around the map to be I don't know, acting like the terrain is there because this looks like they slide around a lot.
They do act like the terrain is there. I mean, in the context of like a 2D thing. Well, it's not 2D, is it? It's 3D. It looks like it's 2D,
Supposed to
though.
be.
It's low res.
Yeah, some of the movements of the vehicles, like just
It looks
act.
great. It's claymation.
Yeah.
Kind of claymation-y. That might be
Yeah.
because they're trying to emulate the voxel-based stuff that Red Alert 2 did. Red Alert 2's vehicles also move kind of like that. But that's because Red Alert 2 was 2D, and it used like a voxel sprite map, if I remember right, for the tank. I can't remember percent. To make it look like when it was moving up a hill, that it was actually 3D. When in reality, it was actually 2D. If I recall correctly.
Will it be a Red Alert or a Tiberium Wars RTS?
Well, it's not going to be Tiberium Wars because that's modern. And it's not going to be Red Alert because it's also not, Command and Conquer. So I don't know what you're... If you
It's not gonna have the
the
FMVs.
easiest question, and let me rephrase that question for you to one that will give you an actual answer. This is going to be a base building, resource gathering style real-time strategy game in the veins of Command and Conquer and StarCraft and stuff like that. That is what this game is going to be. But it is not going to necessarily be like those other games at all.
Necessarily.
Yes, there were Stone Age. But that's obvious because they run on the same engine. And starts screaming at him. He's like, Chaffish being autistic. Challenge impossible. But yeah,
Chef.
so we're going to be covering this game when it comes out. It looks pretty cute. Like, it's got a very cute and pretty art style.
Ponderzan said they said about 90% of the important stuff is already done, so the injection of money now is to reach the finish line.
Yep, that's
I
what...
would assume so.
The game is pretty much done. Like, they've been working on it for years and years and years. The three factions are more or less fleshed out. This was merely to polish the game and add more features to it. And so, because the $85,000 was, again, to basically get the three playable factions, fully functional single-player campaign, online multiplayer, skirmish, AI, and map editor, which is pretty much everything you'd want in a game right there for the $85,000. All this other stuff is merely extra knickknacks in the game. That's all it is.
Knickknacks and paddywhack.
It's just going to add a lot more content and depth to the game. None of it's necessary to the finalized product. It's all nice. Like, for example, the extended dynamic campaign, I'd almost argue is kind of frivolous and not really even gonna add anything because like most people, I don't know. The way it's worded is very vague and ambiguous, and so it was kind of like I don't know why I don't think people felt a particular desire to reach that goal. It's like rather than a linear sequence of missions, campaigns can change dynamically based on various conditions and on the performance of the player, ensuring that no single playthrough is ever the same. That's not so that doesn't really like saying no playthrough is ever the same is kind of like one of those buzzwords that's not really true because it's not really possible. But like it's more like I get what they're trying to insinuate. It's like, oh, so it's like homeworld cataclysm where there's unit preservation, but that fundamentally changes the game. So what does that mean? Like there's so much vague and ambiguity there that seems like a lofty promise with no actual tenability to it. But unless they posted a statement about clarifying what that means, that just to me strikes me as like some sort of lofty idea.
It's probably just a level of randomization throughout the levels.
Yeah, with like some different like scripting or something. That would make more sense. But like that's why it just sounds like a dynamic campaign. Dynamic. Dynamic is an interesting word. It means a lot of things and has been used in gaming development and PR for a very long time. Often to give the illusion or the veneer of having like a lot of limitless potential. The word dynamic is actually meant to psychologically make your mind start imagining for the game developer and start thinking about what it will have rather than what the game will actually have. That's why I think it's better to be more clear and concise with those goals. But that's just me. But yeah, no, this is good news. I'm actually excited. I hope this game turns out good, and if it doesn't, I think I will scream a little bit because I spent money on it. But yeah.
So did I.
Yeah,
We're gonna learn your lesson, old man.
I bought the $45 edition for just getting early access because I, want to see indies supported. That was my free spending money, so please,
Don't worry, because I'll feel really bad when Darkhaven is shit.
please be good.
Because I bought 2 copies of that as well.
Oh my god, suicide is painless. Evil said that the Gore's going to admit they're going to try to implement it later down the road release. Okay, so it's like a roadmap. I'm still interested to see what the roadmap for that is because I would like to see it. I would like to see what they mean by dynamic campaign because I've often seen that term flowing around a lot in the industry, and it means basically a whole lot of something, but at the same time a whole lot of nothing. But yeah. Moving on to the next game, which we have to talk about. That was kind of good. So this is a game called Replaced. It's sitting at mostly positive, 76%, as a very gorgeous art style. We've actually played this on stream before. Just going to do that so it's muted. But this game was actually pretty interesting narratively. It's a simple side-scroller set in a post-apocalyptic America following the 1945 and an alternate 1984 sort of scenario, where it's very different, sort of like the America is kind of ruled by this evil corporation, and the United States government has kind of been eroded away by this corporation and doesn't actually exist anymore. And so it's an interesting concept. It has a lot of cool ideas, but I think the biggest strength of it is its overall art style and low-res style. I think its biggest weakness is actually in its writing, which is funny. And I think that has to extenuate due to the fact that I think the characters, while they are interesting, they are a bit plankish after playing the game. Though I do like the game. Like, there are certain characters that are quite funny. Like the blonde guy who looks like Robin, who punches his, fist every second. He gets, like, pumped. He's like, yeah.
Tempest, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. And the naming convention of the characters, like, your name is Tempest. And, like, the character is a Tempest.
That guy's name is Tempest. Your character's name is Reach.
Reach. Yeah, pretty much.
He's always Reach shit.
But it is a cool game.
Okay.
Deborah then donates 100 squigglies. I don't know what this is. Bro, I can't do this anymore. How about I pay you to let me work for you? Thank you for the donation. Very generous. Unfortunately, Battle Damage Studios is not in a position to actually hire anybody at this point in Junction. And so we are currently at our limits of what we have financially. Thank you for your donation. And I understand...
Besides, I'm already paying Kibbs to work for him. There can only be one.
Yeah, there can only be one. You have to bid.
That's true.
Now, jokes aside. Remember, I know you've been going through some tough stuff at work and whatnot, but just remember to if your job is like not tenable or real bad, like try to just segue over to a different job. Hold the
Yeah, they don't
job you
pay me enough.
have, but like start job hunting for a place that's going to make you less, less exacerbated, because it does sound like you're being stressed out, my dude, and I don't want you to be stressed out. Nobody here does want that. So try to just take it easy, just hang in there and find an alternative job and just mosey on out of that other job that ain't working out so good.
Chat, go work in IT. You can make as much money as I do.
Gasvik screaming in the background.
He just refuses to take Security Plus. I don't understand that, man.
But
He just
Lucky,
refused 'cause he's
they're
lazy.
hiring Indians for that now. Don't you know?
Oh no, not in my job field. They don't.
That'd be a
They
bad idea.
can't.
That'd be
They
a
can't.
security breach.
No foreigners allowed
Yeah,
in my job field.
But yeah, Replace is an interesting game. It's definitely cute. It's not asking terribly much though. It was only like $20, and for me it was cheaper because I owned a System Shock 2. It came in a bundle, and it's a cute game.
System Shock's
The
new.
one thing that I thought was interesting is Sad Cat Studios and Thunderful Publishing seem to be getting a lot of, and this is curious to me, I don't know. The game wasn't rated high by IGN, but seems to be getting a lot of praise from gaming media. I just took note of that on Twitter because I hadn't seen them do the same for other games like this. They've often been radio silent. So it's very interesting that this game has been also getting praise from the media for some reason. Usually games like this sort of fall under the radar. And it's strange because they didn't give it a particularly high rating either. I will say that the game is fun, and it's very much an atmospheric and story-driven game, but I question its replay value. So you're getting what you're paying for here. $20 for a sort of single-player playthrough campaign. It's about 8 to 10 hours in length. I'm only 5 hours through the game, and overall I've enjoyed my time with it. I think for $20 I got the game, a game I thought was really interesting. The visuals and set pieces are reminiscent of God of War. With these sort of like very beautiful scenes and sets.
To be fair, you're paying $20 to essentially get like a shit ton of desktop wallpapers.
Yeah, pretty much. A shit ton, yeah.
Because this art is fucking awesome in this game.
But yeah. So that was an interesting game. We have some bad news, Chatfishes. Now, buckle up your little Chatfish buckets. Get ready. Squealy, you gotta break it to the little fishy friends. What's going on here, buddy?
For those of you who are at least interested in the private server scene, Turtle WoW has officially confirmed that they will be shutting down fully. I gave Kib a link to the forum post, and this is from Torta, the owner of Turtle WoW. He says, "Hello, friends. They say it's the journey, not the destination. How long must the journey last to be remembered fondly and warmly? We don't know. We only know that ours is coming to an end. After almost 8 years online, Turtle WoW is heading towards shutdown. The final day of operations will be May 14th, 2026, and the servers will go offline at 12 a.m. on May 15th. Working on Turtle WoW has been a highlight of our lives. It's been an honor to build with you and for you. Whether you were exploring new stories, leveling, raiding, PvPing, role-playing, or just enjoying a quiet moment in the world. Seeing how much this game means to you has been our greatest privilege. The adventures you've had, the battles you fought, and the friends you met are what made it all worthwhile. We hope you will cherish those moments. What we leave behind are fond memories of an 8-year-long journey, and we hope you'll remember it every now and then. Until the project's final day, we'll keep technical and in-game support active for everyone who keeps playing. All realm timelines will be immediately shifted to the final progression patch for those who want to see the new raid before the project sunset. We have turned off all donations until the end of the project and want to thank you sincerely for supporting us over the years." And he thanks you for playing.
So yeah.
What do you think about this?
Yeah, what do you think, Squealy?
I've been playing Turtle WoW for a good while now.
Oh, Blizzard, get him.
Wow. And I thought they would probably be able to circumvent it just because they're not specifically based in the US, but I'm thinking they're probably also just trying to protect people that were in their staff there are from the U.S. Which either way, like they couldn't last forever. It's a private server, and Blizzard's killed other private servers for less. So
It's lasted longer than most.
yeah, people. I did see people joking that oh, Blizzard killed another private server. They're gonna release their new Classic Plus. But even if they did, I don't think I would ever go back to Blizzard servers. They're fucking awful.
Yeah.
Because the player bases and the actual like in-game economy and populations are just not real. The major majority of the economy in both like in classic servers and retail are fueled by bots, and Blizzard's never gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, because
When I
if they
did
did, it
play,
would reveal the economy's dead.
yes, when I played Anniversary, the Anniversary realms that Blizzard put out when I was before I got my first job, they were those servers were infested, genuinely infested. If I saw someone else out in the world, 90% of the time they were a bot. They weren't real. And I thought about that while I was playing on turn, and I thought like, do I really want to play a dead game? Essentially, because that's what it is. When your game is ran by fucking a bot cartel and people who buy gold instead of playing the game, is it really even fucking worth the time and effort? So I think I'm done with WoW. I have very fond memories of it, but I don't think I'll ever go back to it.
Yeah, it's kind of a dead MMO. Honestly, what's funny about it is you'll find MMOs like older MMOs that are still ongoing to have more livelier communities. Like just comparing like visiting like SWTOR or Star Trek Online, which are two not very good MMOs to be brutally honest. They have more community left in those games than they have left in WoW, in my opinion. Because we
There
revisited
is
it
no
recently.
community.
And
Just
you can
isn't.
you can find people, you can talk to people. There are communities, right? There are people that still
Yeah.
play the game, like that play retail and that play the classic stuff. But like the big problem is that a lot of its oomph and its magic is kind of gone. What made WoW good back in the day no longer makes it good today because it's faded. Like most people have either moved on with their lives, and those that still play, because there are still people that do, are still playing because they haven't let go yet or because they want to try to chase that memory of what was. And while there is a market for the retail game, that market is a very different population than the people we played with back when we played this MMO. The population we played with has moved on with their lives. They're done. They've moved on from WoW. They've moved on from like a lot of MMOs. Some of them don't even play MMOs at all anymore. Some of them are just gone, you know?
Some of them have started families and don't play video games anymore. It's just how
Yeah.
it is.
The World of Warcraft of the 2000s has died. And it has been dead for a while. And a lot of people, I think it's Turtle WoW was kind of like that beacon where it was kind of bringing people back is what it really was. And in a way that the classic WoW thing didn't. And it brought a lot of people back into it to give it a chance and just to re-experience those memories. And when Turtle WoW dies, there will be another Turtle WoW that comes after this, like there was before. Because Turtle WoW isn't the first. It's merely just another in a long line of private servers.
It's one of many. Yep.
Once a private server gets big, it inevitably will attract the attention of Blizzard, who will then mobilize legislation and legal stuff against them. And Blizzard has chosen this path, and by extent, not really Blizzard, but Microsoft, because they own them now. So I think it's more Microsoft executives pulling the strings. I'm not sure how much autonomy they afford the company. I doubt it. Based on internal people that we've talked from Blizzard, it seems to be all controlled by suits and corpos. So I really doubt Blizzard is even an entity anymore. Like I guess is what I'm saying. It's
Whatever
Microsoft.
passion that was in Blizzard isn't there anymore. It's gone.
Well, it's corporate. It's corporate.
Yeah.
And
There's no.
the corporate suits don't really understand the value of modding. They don't understand the value of communities. They never really get these things. They just don't really grasp it. They preach about it, but they don't understand it. And so what I am expecting here more or less is that what Microsoft should have done is they should have collaborated rather than doing what they did. They should allow for private server hosting, because the reality is, and this is the reality of World of Warcraft, World of Warcraft is, whether you love it or whether you don't, it's dying. And it has been dying for a long time. And it will die a very slow and gradual death, as all MMOs do. And as it dies, it's going to, do things that are cringe or people won't like or whatever. But there is a way to go out gracefully. And they're not going to do this. But what they should do, and this would actually make them a lot of money, is they should allow World of Warcraft to have private servers hosted. Private server hosting, and actually sell licenses to host World of Warcraft servers and collect a royalty, and actually provide a legal way to host a private server. And they could generate revenue from this. The issue is that Blizzard has elected to not open this door. And so they've chosen the slow and arduous death. And when they finally do die, in many, many years from now, private servers will be the only memory that World of Warcraft will ever have. It will be its long-lasting legacy. Because in the end of the day, when the carcass is finally gone, what you're going to see finally emerge from the cracks and the dead spaces is little plants. And these little plants are going to be private servers. And we know this because this has happened to almost every MMO that has ever died, that has any actual, in terms of, actual popularity. So I would expect to see private servers reemerge and probably become more powerful when they're gone and dead. In the same way that Warhammer Age of Reckoning was brought back by literally fans who really like Warhammer. It may never have a great player count again. It may only break a couple hundred once a day. Maybe at that. But that is the inevitable fate of World of Warcraft. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year, not in the next decade probably. But it is where it will be someday. And the issue is that they could have done this more gracefully, but by being constantly malicious and hostile and doing this way, they're going to actually make it so that World of Warcraft is much like Age of Reckoning. It's got private servers. There might be 1,000 people. There might even be 2,000. But it will never, ever be what it once was. It will be a far cry of a once great thing. But that's my opinion.
To address what Dragonclaw said, I will argue that everyone is waiting for the big MMORPG to come out. Yeah, that's entirely true. Every time there is a suggested MMORPG, people flock around it hoping that it will be the next World of Warcraft.
Like Ashes of
And
Creation?
yes, like
Yep.
Ashes of Creation.
That was what happened.
And they never will be. Because the simple reality of it is that
the industry's moved on.
Yep. That kind of community, that kind of culture in gaming is gone.
MMOs have moved on. The old guard are getting older and retiring and dying, and the new generation doesn't care. There's a handful of the new generation that do, and they do exist. But the reality is the vast majority of new players have no interest in MMOs. And MMOs have gone from being a popular genre, much like when I talked about Dwarf earlier, to being a niche genre. And there's no shame in that reality or realization. But the understanding that you must have is that being the premier top dog of the hot thing is a cyclical beast. It may come again in the future, but that day is not today. Is essentially what I'm scratching at there, little fishies.
Let the past die, Gibbs.
Kill it if you have to.
Fucking Snart Wars, goddamn.
But yeah, much in the same vein that shooters were. First-person shooters, like Call of Duty style games, were at their zenith too in the 2000s. Like Call of Duty was at its zenith. Now it's kind of on the outbend. It's kind of faded into a little bit more obscurity. So is Fortnite. Fortnite is now fading into the realm of irrelevance and now being surpassed by new things. And Helldivers 2 will also do this as well. This is the natural order of all things. Fads. They come and they go like water. But the most important thing is what remains thereafter. And Will there be anything left over when that time moves on? Yeah, I think World of Warcraft will be preserved. Mostly because there's so many private servers constantly starting up. I think when it finally does die, I think that's when World of Warcraft will enter a renaissance, probably. It'll be the Twilight years, but it'll be under basically small communities, pretty much. And that's how it's probably going to be remembered in the end. That once Titan, that is no longer. But yeah, that's generally just like things. So that's like
Yeah,
where I think
so
that's going to end up.
MMORPGs are you have to have a very hyper niche environment for it to actually stand out and survive, and most of them don't want to do that. They just want to copy WoW. So
And the worst part is they always copy WoW and they do it in the worst ways possible. Because WoW doesn't even know what WoW is anymore. Like, what made World of Warcraft magical was its social aspects. And the big problem with MMOs is that they've forgotten the power of the social aspect. By adding dungeon finders and group finders, you've effectively made it so that the experience is entirely tailored to basically lobbying and partying up together with a quick match game. And the issue is MMOs are not meant or built or designed or initially were drafted conceptually to be that sort of thing. It is actually
they're
meant to be an
long-term.
organic experience. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is defined by the people who play it and the communities that form around it. It is not defined by a, quick jump in, have a game, and then, go to work. World of Warcraft was meant to be a more long stay game, a game that meandered and took its time. Now it isn't. It's all about getting to the end game as quickly as possible. It's about, just speeding your way through things as fast as possible. And the issue is that's not going to stick. And the communities that form around that are also going to just fade away too. Because my guild faded away ages ago. My family guild. And that faded away because the game changed. They don't make World of Warcraft for you and I. They make it for the people who currently play it, the retail people. And they're trying to do the classic thing to bring people back, but they're kind of meandering with that. Is the issue. People want Classic Plus, but they're not delivering Classic Plus. And when they do eventually, and I think they will deliver Classic Plus at some point, people will come back. But the same old issues that Blizzard does will emerge there because fundamentally the entire company, let's be frank, is infested. It's a philosophical design issue. There are people in there that are just ultimately bad eggs, and they will poison any good thing that company produces. And that's the sad reality.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately, like I said, well, and to add what you said, the industry has moved on, the player base has moved on, and unless you have that very hyper niche environment or setting or writing or what have you, most people are not going to stick around.
Yep. Because World of Warcraft
just how it is.
wasn't built in a day. World of Warcraft didn't just poof into existence and all of a sudden it was like, boom. It stood on its own two legs by itself. No. It was built on the foundation of Warcraft. Warcraft, a titanic RTS that basically hyped it up. It was built on a legacy.
What was the MMO that it was based on? That was following. Was it Neverwinter? Not Neverwinter.
Can't remember 100%. But the whole point of what I'm scratching at here is that essentially World of Warcraft earned its success. Unlike Ashes of Creation. Ashes of Creation tried to be an MMO. But I feel like an MMO has to be earned through a series of building foundation blocks. Because Warcraft 1 was their first rinky-dinky RTS. It had problems. Warcraft 2 did really well. Warcraft 3 did even more insanely well and was critically well successful. It blew people out of the water. It was a ground-shattering game.
One of the most successful RTSs of all time.
Yeah, and then World of Warcraft came thereafter. It was earned, and that's the thing. It didn't just appear. It was a build-up to reach that point. That's why I think things like Ashes of Creation will always fail ultimately. Because they're selling you a promise about something they can never deliver. You're trying to buy into a community to earn your place in a hierarchical social status of I was there when it was founded. When in reality, what is the foundation of this thing? Does this thing have a foundation? No, it doesn't. It is just a it's like a hollow imitation of something greater. And that's the issue with a lot of MMOs. That's the issue with WoW killers, is they've never earned that legacy. EA made one of the most expensive games of all time, Star Wars: The Old Republic Online. And even that gets life support today. The most expensive game ever produced. One of. Now there are games that eclipse it, by the way. But it was one of the most expensive games. Had an insane amount of voice talent and VAs and licensing. One of the most expensive games of its era. The most expensive game of its era, actually. And it just did okay. It managed to survive, is all it did. That's just tell you how bad it really is, like, to compete with them. So yeah. But that hopefully paints a picture for you, Chatfishers. Any other firm of commentation? Bucky, how do you feel about this ordeal? I know you're shaking.
WoW is cringe.
I knew it. He's absolutely devastated, chat. Please give him a moment. Bucky, be
I think
strong.
I agree with him, but that's what that's.
WoW is cringe now. Like, I don't even disagree. He might say that it was
I-
cringe from the start, but like I think
When
WoW
they
now is
added in Kung Fu
insufferable.
Panda Kibs, it was already over.
It was over. I mean, it was over before then, actually. We just didn't realize it. Wrath was actually the end of the story, pretty much. It was the end.
Well, yeah, you killed Arthas, and Arthas was the most important character.
It resolved the main
Warcraft
big
3.
bad. It resolved the story, like, more or less. And then everything else, Cataclysm, all the other stuff that followed, was pointless. Like, it should have stopped there.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to this thing because I saw this and I didn't give it to you intentionally because it just didn't interest me whatsoever.
It didn't care. Now, we're going to move on past the dead steaming turtle. Long may it turn into soup or something.
It will be soup soon.
Soup, turtle soup.
Now, chat,
Hopefully.
here's my stuff I contributed.
Oh,
All right,
nice. High
Bucky.
guard
Fucking
news.
high guard shit. Okay, let's go.
All right, Bucky. Let's
All right,
hear
time
it.
to blow my brains out.
No, you're gonna like this.
You didn't even play it, you son of a bitch. We had to play it.
Yeah, you guys are gonna like this.
Right. Let's hear it, Bucky. Let's hear it.
A new survey shows that 44% of the video game developers are thinking about leaving the industry. North America has seen the most video game industry layoffs by far, especially in the United States and California. Roughly 61% of all layoffs since the big wave began in 2022 have been in North America. California alone accounted for about 50% of global layoffs in earlier years. It still makes up about 27% of 2026 cuts so far. In 2026 to date, 55% layoffs have hit North America compared to just 24% in Europe. The GDC 2026 State of the Game Industry survey backs this up with 37% of US developers reporting being laid off in the past 2 years, higher than the global average of 28%. 76% of UK devs are now considering leaving the games entirely.
Jesus Christ.
So
Thank
yeah,
God.
California gets fucked.
This is actually cataclysmic, by the way. So while High Guard is merely just the catalyst in this particular thing, this signals massive potential industry changes that might be incredibly positive in the future. If 76% of UK devs are now considering leaving the games industry, and let's say only a fraction of that percentage quits and starts producing indie or AA games, that could be insane. Or no, wait, leaving games entirely. But that means a good portion of that are going to potentially switch
They're
over
gonna
to.
go to movies.
I mean, I don't care. Like, movies are already ass already. What are they going to do? Be more ass? Be more ass? Oh no!
Always have.
The movies that are
always
bad are even worse
So,
now.
What this sounds like to me is it's not. So it's cataclysmic in that it's obviously a massive downsizing, but how bloated has the video games industry become since COVID?
Massively.
So are these actually long-term like workers in the video game industry who actually want to make video games, or were these the people that got brought on en masse
I think
during
it's
COVID,
I
and
think
now
it's
they're having to
interesting.
get rid of them?
You know, and another thing is that when a significant chunk of the layoffs are from California, I think it's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, the Californian games sector has not produced a lot of good games, has it?
Honestly, most of the games that have been absolutely golden have come from like European devs as of late.
Europeans
Or
are some
that
You're
makes
a
me
bumfuck
sad.
you're a
country
swap.
fucking game dev somewhere.
Yeah, and that makes me sad as an American. But
Bumfuck
like,
country.
you have to call out merit where it is, right?
Merit is
Yeah.
the most important thing. Good games are more important than nationality in this particular case. It would be good if more American AAA studios would actually do their goddamn job, but ultimately they're electing not to. And so that means the money gets to go to somebody else. The money goes towards Capcom's new Pragmata, for example. A game that manages to be wholesome and cheerful and interesting and action orientated, yet EA yet produces more further slop and drivel. Like, I don't know. Like, the options are buy the rainbow flag slop or buy the game that has actual like charming characters. It isn't trying to push an agenda and it's merely just a fun experience. The reality is I'm going to go for the fun experience. And if Capcom's the one producing it, I'm going to go towards Capcom. EA's not getting that money. Yes, that's money that's not going to a American company, but the reality is that does that American company deserve that money? No, they're not
Nope.
owed that money. They have to earn that. And the reality is they don't. They don't earn it. They don't earn nothing. Look at what they did with Battlefield 6. It started off incredibly strong, and now look at it. It's fucking pathetic. What happened? We started Battlefield 6 going like, wow, this might actually be Battlefield coming back. I was almost deceived entirely to believing that until the further updates came out, and then the updates were all contradictory to everything we were promised and they were delivering in the beginning. It's like, wait, what? These cosmetics are ridiculous. These look like silly. They're like, oh, you're just complaining too much. And it's like, okay. And then it's like, oh, the Battle Royale mode is like taking the core focus. What? But this is a Battlefield game. This isn't Fortnite. Like, this game is made for... Just be quiet. You to be quiet. Your player group doesn't matter. Everybody wants Battle Royale. It's like, okay. And now look at the game. It's pathetic.
Yep.
It was the most number one song. It beat Battlefield 1's sales, but then ended up getting eclipsed by Battlefield 1 in the end. How pathetic is that? Pathetic is that? Its legacy is one of mediocrity. Oh my God, help me, Chad. It's painful. It's painful. They had the potential to truly produce something truly great there, but they made garbage. Stone Age says, meanwhile, EU will just literally pay you for making woke slop. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, the EU games industry also has
They're saying
serious
crap.
problems. But we're not talking about the AAAs. We're talking about actual passionate people in the indie and AA that are actually putting out good games.
Most games that are good now come from the indie and AA sector. We do occasionally get the rare AAA gem. Like, for example, Pragmata is an example of that. Pragmata is a AAA game. It is good, but it's not commonplace. And it's usually from companies that I would least expect it to be from, like Capcom and all things. Which, by the way, produces
Okay,
Resident Evil
so
9, which is very mediocre.
the thing about Capcom is that they're a little retarded. Okay,
Yeah, I've learned that the more I've learned about them, by the way.
they make good games that are also really bad at the same time.
No,
It's
Capcom makes
weird,
good
right?
games despite Capcom because
Capcom's like-
Capcom cares more about their pachinko machines.
Like, buy
No, that's
Pachinko.
Konami.
That's
Yeah, that's
Konami,
Konami.
actually. Yeah.
Konami does Pachinko.
Even I know that, God damn it, and I barely know nothing about that shit.
They're all the same to me.
Pachinko.
Yeah, they are.
Pachinko. They are pachinko machine. Check pachinko.
Whereas Nintendo puts out Nintendo.
Nintendo just puts out Nintendo slop. It's passable, and that's like its biggest claim to fame. What did you do? I made a passable game. Oh, you Nintendo.
But I did it with.
And I've also decided to
Pokemon.
cut the developer's budget in half again. Just like how
We're gonna
Game Freak's
boost rev.
Pokemon devs.
I've made a
apparently
passable
have a
game while
shoestring budget.
increasing the price of the game. Aren't I clever?
I don't believe them. They reuse every asset they have.
Yeah, because they have a shoestring budget apparently.
God help me.
We can't fit every Pokemon in this game. Why?
They're just
We're too- we're
PNGs.
just- We don't
What
have
the
enough space. Okay?
We don't have enough space. Bullshit.
You know, in the original like first 4 generations and 5, by the way, they would do new art for every single Pokemon. And in the 5th generation, they made so they were fucking animated. And then as soon as they went to 3D, they became fucking
Slop.
boring ass slot monsters. Whereas if you look at
You
their
will
other 3D
respect
games,
the trash bag Pokemon.
if
Are
you- if
2D
you look
games
at-
superior? Question mark? Or 2D?
No, no, unironically, there was more effort put into the fucking spin-off like arena games, the tournament games they made. for like GameCube and Wii. There was more effort put into those animations than anything they put into the mainline series.
Yeah. That's because they don't get a big budget for the mainline games, Squealy.
Why?
Because Nintendo's stupid,
It's the
Squealy.
mainline.
But the important thing is it's the indie and AA, right? Anything that further weakens these horribly bloated AAA developers is good. Because they are horribly bloated and they can recover. It's never the end for any company unless, they just declare bankruptcy and dissolve, right? They can recover. It's a question of whether or not the people inside want to, or if they want to just keep puppeting it like a zombie.
Next article. Kingdom Come 2 director welcomes LGBT award nomination, then spends around 175 words explaining that it doesn't make him woke. Damn. I think a certain Varva fella found himself knee deep in shit. See, this is going to catch up to you when you try to meander on both fences and try to
Yeah, you
rage
try
bait
to
both
appeal to one
sides.
side and then do a 180 to appeal to the other side on the next game. It's like, okay, dude.
Like, the reality is that you played both sides. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is actually fun. I like Kingdom.
Mechanically, it's an improvement from what I saw over the first game.
It's actually a fun game. But the issue is that I don't really care. This isn't really related to the game. This is related to this guy walking both the tightrope, right? Because he did do stuff that was cringe in KC2. He added the Musafa character, whatever the fuck his name was, or Musa, which was completely unnecessary. It also added absolutely nothing of value to the game. The game is still really good. He also added a random gay kissing scene that I don't even know how you trigger that. I couldn't even figure it out. Maybe because I'm retarded.
No, you had to do so much stuff. You had to actively go and do it. But
Yeah.
it's not even just gay kissing. It fundamentally breaks
The character.
the character.
Yeah. And this stuff, while he did add it, and it was optional, you didn't have to engage with it, was still not okay.
Hold on. I hate that cop out answer. It's optional. You don't have to engage with it because literally most side quests in the game are optional. You don't have to engage with them.
Yeah, but it's
But they
like
still
not engaging
can't-
with a piece of your game, which is stupid.
Also, the gay scene was heavily promoted by the journalists.
Yes.
It was so gross. When I see a man kissing a man, I think I want to puke.
Because you're a homophobe.
Yeah. Actually, no, I'm not afraid of it. I'm
Suck the
disgusted
dick,
by it.
bigot.
I'm disgusted by it. I don't want to see
So-
dudes
I
kissing
actually saw
dudes.
images of someone holding that as a sign.
Say what?
Suck the dick, bigot.
Yeah, that's where I get it from.
It was at a trans rally.
It sounds a bit
Exactly.
rapey,
But,
honestly.
It is rapey.
It is. But yeah, this isn't surprising. Like you said, this is a guy that has tried to play both sides for the sake of publicity and whatnot, and purposefully ruined. And it is ruined, mind you.
He's ruined
even if
like
the
all of
game
his
is
goodwill.
yes, even if the game mechanically speaking is good, he is still purposefully allowing something that otherwise is real life garbage to infiltrate and corrupt the original idea, which is unacceptable. Doesn't matter how small it is. Doesn't matter if it's a tiny flag somewhere or a character or whatever. It's still there.
Yeah, no, it
He
shouldn't
did-
be in the game. It shouldn't. She has no place in the game. It has no place in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is good. I'd recommend picking it up on sale for dirt cheap. But like when you add stuff like that, it's like, oh wow, this is really good. And it's like, oh, what is that, a little turd floating in my soup? It's like, yep, that's a little turd right there. I'm gonna scoop it out. Scoop it out. It's like, what the fuck? You put rabbit shit in my fucking soup here. Like, what are you doing?
Do you enjoy it?
No, not the rabbit shit. I enjoyed the other part before
It's
I
not
knew it was
rabbit shit,
there.
it's raisins.
They just eat around the rabbit
It's
shit.
eat around, but it's touching it, Squealy. It's touching it.
Now you know how I feel about pickles.
Now you know how I feel about the pickle.
Alright, chat, make Squealy eat an entire jar of pickles
Pickle
on
fund.
stream.
No.
Pickle juice.
We'll give him a
Delicious.
$2.
The pickle juice stream was a good
We'll
stream.
give him a $2.
I enjoyed
But he
how
has
my
to buy
tummy
the
hurt.
pickle jar out of his own pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good stream, chat. New pickle juice fund, chat. Pickle juice.
You can have fun drinking pickle juice.
Picky
yeah.
juice. Good,
I'd rather not drink actual brine.
Don't be a baby. It wasn't that bad. It's water with extra
It
stuff.
was
in it.
rancid. Shut
It's
up.
like extra stuff in it. It's just water
I
with
had
stuff
agree.
in it.
In
I
a
was
rare, in a
I was
very
gagged.
rare instance, I agree with Reguline about pickles.
I think they're both racist towards pickles.
You agree with
Pickles
me
in
about a
general.
lot of rapier. You just don't know
No.
yet.
You just don't know yet. I'm a little rapey simp.
You think I'm based. True.
Next article. Harley gets a
Okay, so
membership. Very generous. Now we've got good news, Chet, bitches. Well, actually, no. It's not necessarily good news. It's something that happened that might be good. Or might be shit, actually.
Before Kib jumps into that, remember, chat, there is 3 bounty targets.
There is. Also, chat, don't forget, we gotta make the weekly goal if we're gonna get that model funded. That's true.
You gotta make 200 over the weekly if you want to get the Baroness Aerith, which is currently winning.
Fuck, it is winning. Goddamn, you did actually do the thing,
Yeah.
Jumpus. Jumpus slowly fed it ahead, like the fat little lard he was.
He wants you to be fat like him.
Chat are divided. I see pickles are great and pickles are gay.
Catfish would know better.
The chat
Shit,
duality
pickles
of a
are terrible.
chatfish. The
Am I
duality.
gonna need a pickle fight art piece now? Half the chatfish running in terror from the other half waving around pickles.
So,
You'll have Kid with a pickle blade.
Stop Killing Games delivers absolutely incredible hearing in European Parliament. There was no Parliament member that wasn't responding positively, according to PC Gamer News. Then, I believe this is also tangentially connected. Where is it? Is it over here? I think it's there. The European Parliament just held a hearing on Stop Killing Video Games, and it actually looks very positive for players. This is the first real push to stop publishers from selling games and then disabling them later on. I broke down the key points, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so basically, real quickly. So what is the Stop Killing Games movement? The Stop Killing Games movement is basically just highlighting, trying to bring discussion to video games about video games in general and the fact that video games, specifically live service games or online games, if developers pull the plug on the servers, you can't play the game that you bought and purchased. Nor do the developers tell you anything when you buy the game, like, hey, by the way, we're going to do something with the servers. The SKG movement doesn't even demand that they have to change anything other than merely just discuss or let players know, is pretty much what the SKG movement's about. It's basically about having a sunset policy. And a sunset policy for games like this essentially extenuates to basically have an idea of what you're going to do with the game. Like, is it just going to be an announcement like, hey, by the way, the game you're buying, if the servers go down, there is no plans for anything. It's what the consumer knows. And they can still buy the game. Or, hey, we're going to be turning the servers off. You will still be able to access these features and functions, but the online functions are going to be turned off. Or basically it's about bringing up discussion like, hey, could you potentially release the server hosting tools for these games if you don't wish to host the servers anymore? A great example of this would be like the Dead Space 2 game, which had a multiplayer service function where you could play multiplayer, which no longer functions because EA shut the servers off for it. This would basically remedy this, where EA would tell you when you bought Dead Space 2, by the way, we're not going to be keeping the servers online. Or
No,
EA
but
could be like,
they would have to release the tools to run your own.
no, they don't have to. Not based on the SKG movement. They do not
You sure?
actually have to. No, it's not about forcing them to do anything. It's about merely just getting a conversation and being honest. The SKG movement does not guarantee that the argument they're going for isn't that they're not going for the you got to give us the tools to keep hosting it. It's the you have to tell us at least what you're going to do. If I buy Dead Space 2, it'll be like, because it says on the back of the box for my 360 game, it's like it has online features and stuff like that. But now it'll have to say it has online features, which we intend to shut down at some point. By the way.
Yeah, essentially as a warning.
Yeah, by the way, this online feature is not guaranteed to work for indefinitely. It will be only a temporary feature that it has multiplayer functionality. And by the way, we have no intention to give you server hosting tools or any way to play it outside of our servers. There is zero intended support plans beyond that. So just so you know, when you buy our game, that's the plan. And that honestly is a big win for the gaming, because it means that people can finally have a conversation about it. I do believe, personally, that developers should, in my opinion, consider releasing the server hosting tools to the public or tying their services to something like Steam. But we all know how that worked with GameSpy when GameSpy shut down, right? Because if you guys remember, some of you might be old enough, when GameSpy server shut down, a bunch of video games, multiplayer functionality and features died overnight when that happened. Because a lot of games were tied to a service called GameSpy. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm like the only one that remembers that.
I know what GameSpy is, Shitlow.
But yeah, GameSpy was like what connected all the games together in multiplayer. And eventually GameSpy services shut down. And when they shut down, all the games that were connected to it stopped functioning. If they had local area network support options, then groups like Game Ranger or people would use network tunnelers like Radman VPN to network tunnel to each other to play games. Or there'd be restoration groups that would create their own publicly hosted servers. There are groups like that exist that create these things called hooks, which hook your game to like a thing and a network, and then it runs it. A great example of this would be like the Command Conquer CNCNet community. CNCNet.org basically operates on a hooking system that hooks the game client through a mod interface, which then connects it to the publicly hosted servers that they host instead of GameSpy, which gets it circumvents the whole thing, usually by running through their own launcher and stuff like that. That's how they've managed to keep those games alive. Now, I want to point out that it's incredibly rare for games to have communities that do that. Not every game can have a very dedicated fan base and made of seriously very top-notch, incredible programmers with insane skills and networking to set these things up because they're passionate about these games. It's very lucky when this occurs, and this usually happens to a very sacred few games, mind you. But it's worth highlighting. But yeah, so the big thing here is that this is huge. If this wins, that's potentially going to maybe change how gaming will work. But I will underscore that I think the only reason why the EU Commission or Parliament is taking particular interest in this case is not because they give a rat's ass about gaming, because I don't think they do. However, I think they see this as an opportunity to get in touch with the younger folk, so to speak. So there's probably external reasons here. Because I think this is a multifaceted thing, and while I do support the SKG movement's ideas, I have no doubt that
It's the EU.
There are external parties looking at this with interest, as the warm reception only tells me that there is interest in taking advantage of this. And so I'm curious to see if this gets poisoned somehow along the way. If this gets like rammed into something else or rolled into something else.
They'll start taxing people and to try to protect stuff.
Yes, that's my concern.
Protected.
Is that we're just going to add a racketeering thing. Because the AAA also has a concern here. Now, this is where some people that wear pirate hats say stupid stuff and get themselves completely nuked into oblivion. The AAA community has a very terrible defense for themselves for this particular case. Because they're like, no, we don't want to do it. And we're not going to talk about it. When the AAA...
It wouldn't really cost us much.
This is something that the industry could self-regulate without the EU's involvement, without the government's involvement. The industry has done this before. We've faced this road before throughout the industry, before our time in it, at least. And this happened with the PEGI and ESRB rating boards, when game censorship was pretty big with the right-wing censorship of like super duper, like the Satanic Panic or whatever. That basically led to the creation of the ESRB and the PEGI board, which was the industry self-regulating itself, pretty much. PEGI is the European equivalent. There's another one for Europe, but PEGI, I think, is Britain. ESRB is American. And these boards rate games and then ascribe them a score, and the score ascribes them a rating. An E for everyone, a T for teens, an M for mature audiences only, and an AO...
PEGI 18.
Yep, PEGI 18, for the Europeans, but AO is the death nail rating. If you get that, like, your game will not be put in any stores. That was a bad rating to receive. But yeah, that was...
In this situation, though, the developers and publishers that are most affected by this are not incentivized in any way to protect their games. So, like, at least some form of enforced protection may be useful, even if it does come with the caveats of EU being responsible for
The
it.
government getting involved in the entertainment sector, I will forewarn this, is going to be an absolute disaster, as it has been in almost every industry it's ever happened historically. The car manufacturing industry is a great example of this. How many new car manufacturers do we get?
None.
None.
Well, where aren't we getting any new car manufacturers?
Tesla's
got-
like the newest as far as North America is concerned,
And they
Yeah,
they
they've
brute
been
Tesla.
forced
around
their
for a
way.
while.
They brute forced their way in because they had a billionaire backing them,
Yeah.
and that was the
Yeah.
only way they did it. It's the only way.
Well, no, there's like 2 other EVs startups that are trying to do stuff, I think.
Yeah, but it's an
You
absolute
said
But
that.
nightmare.
usually you don't they also have billionaire funding, mind you.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't understand how.
What is the
bad things
chance
are in
that
the
somebody in
world.
my Bucketfish audience could start their own car manufacturing company if they
I
put in the
could,
I
no,
time?
don't
and
nominate
want to.
Garuncha.
I could. Bucky, give me your little shit, and he's like, well, "I'm gonna do it. You can't
Who
jump
could?
me."
Anybody could do that. Tesla
I'm
started
a
that way.
catfish and I own a dumpster
Yes, but what are the
yard.
odds of them being
We
successful?
get cars all the time.
Pretty
Because
high.
of the hoops that they would have to jump through. Pretty high that they'd be successful as a car manufacturer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not true. That's a blatant lie.
No. It's almost 100%, Chad.
No, they
No.
would absolutely. It's almost 100% that they would not succeed because of all the hoops they have to jump through.
No, Chad. Go ahead.
Those hoops exist to literally. No, Chad, don't fucking get obliterated. Just, explode. Bucky's fucking with me now. But yeah. There are industries that are a nightmare to get into. Why do we have the video gaming renaissance that we're experiencing right now? How many hoops must a game developer actually jump through? No, that is not a bullshit argument at all, Holznader. That's completely false. How many hoops must you jump through to become a game developer right now? What must I do to
Become
make
a
a
game
game?
developer right now. You need to make a game and then put it on Steam.
Yep, that's it. That's why we have a renaissance. That's why we have a
It's such
golden
little
age.
hoops, chat. You could put malware on Steam.
That is one of those things that only happened like once.
It's happened a couple
few
times.
Yeah, we talked about.
Yeah, but like, that's not the point. That's kind of like distracting. Like, I forget what that's
Okay.
called. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how many of you? Like, we all could. Bucky could. Mamu can. Chumpus can. Reguline can. All of you can. It's not that hard. You can all produce it, right? But there is caveats. In the case of a car, you need to open a factory. But in the case of a game, you need to become a programmer. You need to make art. You need to also know how sound works. You also need to know how marketing works. There's a lot of hoops you do have to jump through internally, right? But there's no overhead from the government to get through these particular hoops. Because while Bucky could produce a video game, he'd also have to learn how to do art, or he'd have to pay for it. He could also, learn how to do the coding, or he could have somebody he could pay for it. And he could
I would just
also,
whip a person.
yeah, that's what I'd imagine. And like you could pay people to do it. You could get things moving. And that's the most important part. And the difference here is that there are no hoops. And so if you add government hoops to jump through, my concern extenuates the fact that the SKG movement, what it's doing is good. And is a capital G good. Good thing. But it would be ideal if we could pressure, and the hope is, in my opinion, is that the SKG movement pressures and scares the AAA into self-regulating as they had done before. My fear is that it won't. And then once the entertainment industry begins to be regulated, then creative thinking and free will dies. And as it dies, as it fades away, what will be left? This is more of like a hypothetical, right? This is not necessarily like a condemnation, not meant to really make you do anything more than think. And those are actually, like what would be left? What would be left in the place of that once that happens? Once the government starts to regulate, once they start to get involved in the industry. Your game isn't woke. Your game doesn't have enough diversity and inclusion. We're shutting down your
It's
studio.
the same thing that
We're
you saw
shutting
with
down your
social media,
studio.
where depending on who was in power, they pressured these social media companies to hand
Diversify.
over data and or remove people, etc. It's same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you need to have some anti-cheat in there. You need some DRM,
It's
prevention stuff.
mandated because you're a part of this organization that you must use DRM in your game. To not use it would be, heinous and cruel to your consumers. You wouldn't be cruel. We can't have you
You
release
wouldn't want to be cruel, would you?
We can't have you release a bigot game that has no DRM in
game.
it. Your studio is looking a little not diverse enough. Let's fix that
Basically,
up
you
a
would get
little.
what Australian government did to hatred.
Yep.
Yep.
They just straight up banned it.
Yeah, Australia does that with like every game that's fun. They did that to like
I remember
RimWorld. Then the devs for RimWorld were like Lamau.
Lamau, yeah.
I remember the koalas in the South Park games. Where they'll show something terrible and they just put a koala over it.
No, Halsey. The entire purpose of this is that is the point. My entire point about this entire thing is flown over your head. The concept of this is specifically, I'm not going to bother. But people who understand what I'm talking about, you guys get it. The concept is, as we start introducing new barriers to an industry, these barriers will be the bedrock for new building foundations for new regulations to be implemented. That's why I was skeptical about the movement to ban, what was it? Certain things, because the games industry also does greedy ass shit all the time. A few years ago, you guys probably remember this. There was a case where, what was it? Loot boxes. That's the thing. I forgot what it was because nobody talks about it anymore. But loot boxes were incredibly toxic and hostile towards the players, and they were becoming unbearable. They were bleeding into almost every facet, and it was almost uncontrolled. And it was actually not the government's intervention that stopped loot box craze going too crazy. It was actually the players. And it was specifically one game in particular that actually ended up reversing this entire thing, which kind of underlines my point yet again. If you guys are familiar with a game called Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA, it was that game in particular where that occurred, where the consumer base got so fed up and were so loud and so vocal and powerful that it completely reversed EA's entire loot boxing system that they had in their game. So much so that not only did they gut the system and remove it, but then had to start making the game the way people wanted to. They only ended up pulling support during the 2020, or what is it? Not 2020, the Celebration Edition, because they wanted to shift resources to Battlefield 2042, which we all know how well that went out, right? And it did not work out. That was a disaster. And so Battlefront 2 EA is remembered not as badly as it should be in history, but it's actually remembered relatively positively by many of those who played it and still play it to this day. And why is it remembered positively? Because it was left in a good state. Because people were vocal, people fought back against the industry being rancid and honestly terrible, and managed to actually shift them away from that. And because they did that, it managed to actually shift it back to in favor of the players, which was incredibly important. Incredibly important. A huge victory for gamers as a whole. Fundamentally, a huge victory. But the issue was it was underscored by being not as impactful because EA simply, realizing they couldn't milk you as much as they would have liked to, polished the game up a little bit and then moved on like the little fucking morons they are to the next big thing.
They inevitably fuck up as well.
So it's like, like EA maybe learned their lesson and then they waddle off to the next project. They don't do loot boxes again, but they're committing some other heinous sin against humanity.
We'll get some way to milk these kids. Fuck it.
They're like, how can I get away with as minimal effort as possible while making as much profits as possible? And that's what EA's been trying to figure out. And still,
how do we make this FIFA 2?
But yeah.
But
no, you won't, Holznader. As we're dropping it, we're moving on. Go ahead.
like loot boxes were unironically child gambling, and that was against the law. So I think they were just hoping to avoid getting persecuted by the government.
I think a couple of nations have forced it to where you know exactly what the percentages are.
Yes, they enforce that, which is why I think like every gotcha game has to specifically state what the chances are of actually succeeding.
Yep, because there was actual regulation done on loot boxes.
Hmm. Yeah, no, there was stuff. The big thing is that loot boxes are, in essence, gambling. Should gambling be illegal? No. Is gambling a good practice? No. Should you gamble? No. Not like with
But
that.
it's
Not without actually knowing the
fun.
percentages, right? Let's go gambling. I know it's a joke, right? But like,
Let's go gambling. I
Well,
can't stop
gambling,
winning.
it depends on what you mean, what like the type of gambling. Just spending money on a random chance of reward, yeah, that's usually an addictive and
dangerous
really
thing.
but gambling on like starting a new project, that is also a gamble.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's in essence what I'm saying when it came to these video games is that there was no clear distinction about percentages, right? When they had the tools to do it. Because if you have the tools to do it, then you'd obviously give the percentage. But if you don't, then, well, I guess there's a reason for that. But in this particular case, EA obviously knows what the percentages of your chances to receive the thing you want is. They just didn't show you what that percentage was. Because it might diminish your, will to buy it, right?
Yeah.
They got banned in the lowlands before that change. Yeah, they did. But at the same time, the lowlands don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. They're kind of irrelevant. The big thing is that the pressure from mounting pressure from people in general was so bad at that period. We could fixate on one particular nation, but that's pointless, really. The thing that's more impactful is the fact that there was a general push globally, not from one specific region. And it was too much pressure for them to take, too much heat. And so that ultimately led them to caving, which was a good thing. And then in the end, because, well, loot boxes honestly hurt Battlefront 2 EA. And there's actually a lot of things that are actually harmed by it design decision wise. Having gear or like cards that give you bonuses to your stuff gives you an unfair advantage in the game, hurts multiplayer games. But this extenuates the design philosophy and now is a different subject altogether. And then we could talk about multiplayer games, should they have different gear and items that you get as you level up? No, they shouldn't. That's retarded. You should have all the same gear that everybody else has, because if you're going to make a PvP experience, giving a player a distinct advantage over the other player because they played more is only going to make the other player turn into fodder. We've solved this question ages ago in the gaming industry, but we keep finding ourselves back here all the time.
Counterpoint, Kibs. Extraction shooters are literally exactly that.
That's not a counterpoint. That's
It
just
is.
that's
You're
literally
arguing that it's
additive.
not good, but like that's their entire like gimmick.
Yeah, but that's not extraction shooters aren't these are two separate genres. So we're talking about PvP games because we're talking in the context of Battlefield and Battlefront, right? Which is contextually not the same game because they aren't. That'd be like comparing progression with an RPG. It's just as nonsensical. You get a better sword. Well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna
Okay, the
fight an
actual
NPC.
difference is that for games like Battlefront, you're essentially playing pay to win at random,
Yes.
and with extraction shooters, you get a random loot every. So
Yeah, you're getting random
what
loot.
it.
They are completely different entities, and one charges you for the random loot. One charges you.
There's also the extraction shooters that give players bonus items if they bought a higher quality bundle. Ooh.
That is
Start off.
stupid. Let's give them the chance to get better quality guns in game.
Not better chance. They just start off with more shit, essentially.
It's still
Which is
dumb.
again, it's pay to win, but
Yeah, pay to win. In which case, it's still bad. That's still bad. That's bad. Because if you want to
get a
play,
pay
if
to
you
win-
want
pay to
a
head
player
start,
versus player game, the best PvP games throughout history, time immemorial, is literally any game in which all players start on equal footing, and it's a challenge of skill, not a challenge of the depth of one's wallet.
Yes. Also, Stonehenge brings us up. Valve was also responsible for loot boxes existing.
The boxes got banned. Yeah, They did that in Counter-Strike, if I'm right. Didn't stop Gaben from doing the same thing in Counter-Strike. Honestly, I forget Counter-Strike even exists, actually. Because I don't like Counter-Strike. So
There's
it's
a-
personal. There's a personal reason behind
There's a
it.
very
Counter-Strike, I believe, unless something's changed since I looked into it or played it many years ago, it's cosmetic. The better example of that you want to go for is Team Fortress, where it was actual weapons and equipment.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the hats and shit gave you like bonuses and stuff, which was
Oh
bad.
no, there was actual different guns that you
but
put in the
Yes,
lit boxes.
hats and guns and different gear that had different bonuses. That would give you a massive advantage. I remember because we hosted a community event, and one of the people who was helping us host it was a guy by the name of Fairman, and he banned some builds because these builds in particular were so unfair, like in terms of disproportionate, that it made the game not fun to play with others because they were just broken. They would just roll over everybody, and it wasn't fun because it would just make everyone else want to leave. Yeah, games like
In
that
a
are
way.
terrible.
in a way, Valve is responsible for both NFTs and loot boxes.
My God, Valve,
Unfortunately,
is Gaben evil? Chat? Are we hashtag the? Are we the baddies? Are we the bad?
I'm the baddies.
Is
No, it's just that Valve, for all the good things they do dumb shit.
Yeah, those things are
is
stupid.
Valve actually just Wayland Yutani, but that they do charity work on the side?
Chatfish, big thinky. Look at him, big think.
Is Stone Age? Yes, but he's not just a.
Chatfish looks around, yes. But yeah, moving on, because we've more or less, I think, wrapped up this subject. I thought it was an interesting thought because, while it is interesting that it's moved to the EU, Parliament, I think it's important that we always consider the consequences, both the obvious ones and the unforeseen, because I expect there to be unforeseen consequences for winning. Maybe I'm just a little bit skeptical about
Oh.
being successful in certain areas.
Half-Life reference, Gibbs?
No, that's actually just a human thing, actually.
Unforeseen consequences.
Where do you think they got that from, you fucking monkey? What do you think they just made that up? No. Do you think they just
My God. It was always Valve, Chatfish.
unforeseen consequences? It's been in other pieces of literature even like throughout time. Oh my God. Fucking A. It's just a chapter in fucking Half-Life chat. It's like chapter 1, if I remember right, or episode 1.
Always been just a chapter in Half-Life, Kibbs. There's no other way.
It's like it never came from anything else. Like the two words unforeseen and consequences being next to each other, never once in literature outside of that chat. So what? That's right, says Chatfish. That's true.
That's racism. Don't know. Chatfish can't be racist. No. They're
But yeah. I hope the SKJ movement is successful because this would be a huge W for gaming, in my opinion. But I hope that we don't end up accidentally opening something that we might regret later on. That's about it. I'm hopeful that Ross's movement is successful though, because it's making good grounds. He actually made it to the Parliament thing. It's kind of scary now that we reached this point because it's like, what if something goes wrong? Because I've seen this happen before, and that's why I brought up like other manufacturing stuff. Because while it may not necessarily be directly related, the point still stands. When you open the door for a little bit of it, usually when it comes to the history of regulation in general, regulation doesn't stop with one thing. It merely adds. And like laws, they often write more laws than they get rid of. There's so many laws in so many countries that they take up entire warehouses if they printed them. Because they actually get rid of fewer than they make. And that I find scary. That's what scares me a little bit. But yeah. Hopefully I'm just overthinking that. I do not want to be right on that at all, please. All right, so let's see. Next up we have is Ayaka Mods. Pal World Copycat Picmos have been removed from Steam. Publisher had to step in and start personally supervising the whole dev team, like they're kids who can't behave. That's their personal bias flipping in there. Now the devs are revising the game to ensure a controversy-free experience. Let's stop reading them and read the actual statement itself. Hello, players. This is the Publisher Network Go. We've heard your feedback regarding the removal of our Steam store page and want to clear things up. Network Go has officially intervened in the development of Pocket Game. We will be supervising the Pick Most team from a player's perspective to ensure the game keeps getting better. Thank you for the support. So, for those who aren't familiar, correct me if I'm wrong, little Buckster, but Picmos is basically a clone of Pal World, isn't it? He walked away, didn't he?
I did not walk
Probably
away.
did.
You do that sometimes. You did that to me
I was
yesterday, you
muted.
son of a bitch. All right, go ahead.
I think this shit's so funny. Because basically all this is telling you is that they got by their fucking whoever is paying them to shut the fuck up and fix their shit. Because they're about to get sued by Pocket Pair.
Yeah, because
It wasn't even gonna be close.
they were just blatantly ripping the designs.
It was
copy
literally
paste.
the Timu of Timu Pokemon.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is that Steam was probably gonna pull them too.
Yep. I mean, it was good that the publisher intervened. Good on them for catching that before it got out of hand. They potentially might be able to salvage the game. Now, I will
Yeah.
say that artistically, this is going to suck massively. Well, actually, not necessarily. It just means that they actually have to do their goddamn job. The artists actually have to go and design actually unique and new designs. And then the modelers, it sucks because they just did all the model work and animation work. But the reality is that you got to have something that isn't just a carbon copy Stormtrooper. You know, you're going to get sued by Disney. In this case, you're going to get sued by Pocket Pair. So make it unique, make it derivative, make it its own thing.
Wouldn't it be more accurate to say they'd be sued by Microsoft? Because I think Microsoft is back. Or is it Sony that was backing Pocket Pair?
Microsoft, I think,
Sorry.
backs them,
I've been both.
I believe. But I'm not 100%. I don't remember 100%. It's been a while since we talked about the Pocket Pair lawsuit with Nintendo.
Sneeptendo.
Yeah, if they took the Nintendo took a huge L.
They did, because they lost the ability to patent. Well, they tried to patent things and they ultimately failed in the US, which means, and when it comes to legality, usually the world looks to the United States of America to determine its laws. Unless they're in certain countries like, I don't know, Iran or China or Russia or whatever. But usually other countries look to the United States to basically figure out what they're going to do for its stuff. And if the United States says yes on that, then the world follows. If they say no on that, then the world follows that way too, generally speaking. And so the fact that the United States said no means that Nintendo is now going to eat shit because it means the Europeans are going to say no. And Japan's not going to lose prestige, so they're going to probably follow as well, or they're going to not really do much because they don't want an embarrassment. Japan stomachs and tolerates Nintendo because it earns them prestige as a nation. The minute that stops doing that, the minute Nintendo loses its actual validity as an organization, it becomes no longer a useful tool to the government, and ergo is no longer afforded special privileges. Which honestly, the sooner that happens, the sooner, yeah, pretty much. The sooner Nintendo loses its special privileges, the better. The better for both Nintendo, the better for the games industry from Japan in general. In general, it would just be a net win for everybody. Even the Japanese, even Nintendo would benefit from them actually losing special privilege status, as it would force them to actually try to make better games. Hence why Pal World is actually out competing in several fields, whereas Pokemon isn't, right? Because they've been so lazy with Pokemon, they become so complacent with their success that they're no longer striving to do better. And because they're afforded luxury, because the government will go and fucking throw people in jail for modding the goddamn game and destroy any company that makes a competitor so that it doesn't potentially undermine Nintendo's, like, borderline fucking monopoly. Yeah. It's one of those things where you got to ask yourself, like, all right, come on. Like, monopolies aren't healthy. They're not healthy for the guys they, negatively impact, like, directly by basically crushing the competition. And they're also not healthy for the company that the monopoly is. They're actually bad for that company. Halsey says Metro Prime 4 sucks. You just misunderstand its modern humor. He's like, what? That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Are you a Redditor? It's not for you if you're not a Redditor.
Yes, you gotta get your Reddit badge. Reddit badge. Certified.
Certified. I raise this child as my own.
That's bad. That was good.
Wait, Squealy's admitting he has a cuck badge?
No, I don't use Reddit.
We're
You do.
quoting a funny meme thing. It was
Squealy
certified.
browses Reddit on the froggy chair.
Certified.
But Rapier is the one in the froggy
I'll
chair.
raise
He's the
this
one
child as my own.
who
It's funny as a meme and a joke. All right, we're memeing here, Chatfish. Come on. Like, okay, let's see. But yeah, honestly, I think.
For reference, by the way, chat, this game was the Power Comcat Pikmos, which was Pikmon originally, is just a straight copy paste of a bunch of Nintendo and Power assets.
Assets, yep. It's got Link character.
It literally just copy pastes Link's armor and stuff. It copy pastes.
It's so creatively
Pokemon, it
bankrupt. Its trailer was actually painful. Can you pull up the trailer real quick? Chat needs to see this.
No, the Steam thing's down now. Okay.
They have a
Yeah, it's
YouTube
gone.
trailer, don't they?
I'll have to find it.
Yeah,
But
It's in one of our VODs for sure, because we actually covered it.
The Timu of Timu Pokemon. That was the fucking funniest shit.
I have an IGN thing.
It was pretty bad. Pop it in the Discord now. It's like,
I also posted a update news for Zomboid.
Good. The chump ass must be destroyed.
You don't even have to click play on the video, actually, Kibbs. The fucking screenshot is good enough.
Where is it? All right, scroll down. Oh, that's pretty bad. But Chatfish can't see it. Enhance. Yeah.
Look, it's Pikachu and
Zelda.
Breath of the
Link,
Wild.
sorry, I'm stupid. Oh no, he's a tourist. Tourist camp, no.
Look at the Rayquaza next to
Tourist.
you.
I just lost that.
I always knew he was a tourist.
Fuck.
Then mute the audio.
It's
You
too
don't need to keep
late.
the audio on.
It doesn't matter. The
Like,
damage is already
There-
done.
Like there's obvious fucking characters from
It's mostly
Power.
stealing from Pokemon. A lot of these
Mostly.
designs. But yeah, there's
And
definitely
there's
Power,
obvious Link right there. Like, oh my god. Even the shirt and everything. Yeah, no
Mhm.
shit they had to step in.
It's angsty Pikachu.
It's Pikachu, but with a hairdo.
and so if the fucking build areas is all fucking shit from Epic or whatever.
Yeah, there's
the
all epic
asset
assets.
list. I like how it's stuttering even in the footage. Like it's like chopping a little. It's like, fuck, we can't get our optimization game on, boys. But it's a pre-rendered cutscene. I know. I
They-
know.
They renamed it to
From Pikmon to
So
Pikmin.
Mamarest is literally just stolen.
And that's
asset.
also just a Pokemon.
And when I looked into the company, it looked like it was a Chinese shell company.
I'm a sexy pink-haired slut. Meh.
It's
That
unironically.
explosion.
It's
Roadhog from
unironically
fucking
Timu.
Overwatch.
Yeah, there's
It's just Overwatch Roadhog.
Oh my
It
god.
literally is.
Yeah, he's right there. Look, it's Roadhog.
Oh my god, Roadhog.
What do you mean? That's an original design. How dare you?
Look at those Timu soldiers right there. Oh my god.
It's Timu Pal World chat.
They look so stiff when it comes to like their poses. We made these large dark.
It's Chinese, so they don't care. Correct.
Yep.
I know he's gonna ugly bastard them. Run, chat, run! Like, start screaming. Oh my god, his like proportions are so
arms.
fucked in his tiny ass head.
And now he's riding on the Velstron.
Pikmon X.
Look, you don't understand.
Coming soon. Add to wishlist on Steam. Yeah,
Coming
can't do
soon
anymore.
to being delisted.
Let's
From
see where that
Poke Game,
Steam link
A
is.
network go.
Damn.
It is funny how much it's just like generic.
Because what was the company that's making it? Pocket Game,
Yeah, it's like Pocket
which is just ripping off Pal World again.
Go. Network.
That is
Go.
Path Swine, no relation to Roadhog.
Oh my god. Chatfish,
They wanted to
run.
see by Digimon.
I like how they
Yeah,
even tried
funnily
to
enough,
make their
this was coming to
logo.
the Switch as well, and Nintendo didn't have issues with this.
That's what I was gonna say. I find it funny they tried to even rip off the Nintendo Switch stuff with their PG logo in the top. Like, ugh. The not destruction, the
The
collapse of
Pocket Game
China
and the
cannot
publisher
be soon
Network
enough.
Go. Yeah, they sound like definitely real companies.
We are
Very
not
real.
shell companies. We are real. We are. We are here. We are here. We are here. Horton, here's who.
There's also Pal Lands, Nintendo Pal World.
Oh my!
I mean, that's
fucking
just
God.
funny.
It's so funny because it sounds like they're malding. Honestly, Pal Lands
Pal Land. Oh yeah, there it is.
to Steam.
The first thing that comes up when I type in Pal Land is it the Pal World killer? It's
If you have to
Nintendo
start
only.
with, is it the such and such killer? It's gonna fail.
Paland, Creature Tamer. I think that's different. I don't think it's on Steam.
made by Buggy Soft or Boggy Soft.
Buggy soft.
It's
beautiful.
like Ubisoft, but made out of bugs. It's like,
And supported languages: British English, American English.
I am a developer, says Psycho Dad. I am a developer. Starts crying.
I made a video game
All right, kids,
using
next,
epic ass.
What's that,
No,
Bucky?
Bug.
next
no.
He
one.
said the next one.
Pal Land is on Steam. Yeah, the Creature Tamer World. That is the game.
Okay, next article. This actually looks kind
Now
of cute.
some good games.
These Japanese indie devs are making a semi-auto strategy game where you pilot a city-sized supermassive battleship. Combat is continuous
game.
over a giant map, steamroll armies and kaiju alike, ram enemy ships head-on. It's called Dreadnought Tartarus. And yeah, I think I would play this. A big dumb fucking battleship that just bombards shit. Let's watch the trailer.
It's very Japanese. It's beautiful.
Very Japanese.
Yeah.
Very almost Gundam-esque.
I sent this game to you months ago and you ignored it. It says block.
I didn't ignore it. I just forgot about it. Oh my god.
Oh baby,
So Japanese.
It's a...
it's beautiful.
Are you ready for Gundam Gundam? Time for Gundam.
But yeah, I think it's on Steam.
It is
It
on
is.
Steam. It's not out yet. I think.
What was the store page called?
Dreadnought.
Dreadnought. You can just type in Dreadnought. it'll
Dreadnought
start- it'll show
Tartarus.
up.
Did the other game Dreadnought finally die? I hope.
I have
'cause it
no
was
idea.
Terrible. Because it was terrible. Oh yeah, that's Japanese.
Yeah.
So happy and like completely out of tune with what's happening.
At
That's
the
a city
fucking-
being rolled
is-
over by gigamechs with
Yeah.
Yep.
nuclear glowing craters.
Beautiful.
The entire civilization's about to get wiped out. All right.
Yeah, war is awesome.
Wars.
Oh.
No, war bad. War bad. War awesome.
Nuclear energy bad, but
War's
except
bad,
when we
but
use
then-
it.
But then they like make it look really cool. It's like, wait, I'm getting mixed
What do
signals.
you mean by that?
Where's the melodrama though?
look,
Oh
they
no,
got
there is
Gundams,
Gundams.
Well, of course
well,
there's
there
mixed
goes the
suits.
Dreadnoughts. A single Gundam's on the field.
Yeah. Of course.
There
there's
goes the
super robots.
Dreadnought.
Why wouldn't there be super robots? It's Japanese.
It looks so stupid that it's probably gonna be fun. It looks so
Oh, it'll be
stupid.
beautiful. It'll either be complete dog shit or amazing. One of the two.
20% completion.
Okay. Kuju base, Earth orbit.
Kuju?
Wars.
You mean kaiju?
Shut. It
Wars
said
is fun.
Kuju.
Kuju.
Did it?
Yeah, it
Was
did.
Kuju or kaiju? No,
It
it's
says
kaiju.
kaiju.
It's
you
kaiju,
fucking
kaiju.
No,
weirdo.
it doesn't. Where was it?
Yes, it does.
Right
kaiju.
there.
No, I'm wrong. I can't be wrong. I'm the streamer. No.
He's the inflatable
I like how Kib's
streamer.
never turned off the Indio blow up doll.
It's his son.
Why would he?
My son, Indio.
You
Chatfish.
normally grab your son by the waist like that.
Yes, it's
We
fatherly
established
love.
love. Last time,
Fatherly love.
a father should not have a blow up doll of their son.
Indio was
Right.
telling me how he was mad at like his dad because he abandoned him. So I told him it's okay, I'll be your dad now. And he said no. And I'm like, I'm your dad now. I'm your father. I'll protect you. And so I said, chat, we care about help me feed my son. Make the daily goal. And so chat didn't. So chat didn't. And then Bucky had to.
Chatfish. Let's fund an albine blow up doll for the other arm.
Damn.
It'll be smaller.
Smaller. He's my less loved son. I don't like him as much. He's my Peter, if you will. He's my.
Yeah,
Bucky
that's
just
another
looks
name
at me,
for
he's like,
penis
"Whoa."
gives.
He's like, whoa. Starts sweating. I was referencing the movie we watched last night. You stingus. He's my Peter. I don't love him as much as my other one. I don't love him.
Except for wanting
Wow.
to put a
So you
demon
blame
into
him
or
for the
whatever.
death of Indio.
I want
Yeah.
to let you know, Gibbs, the hidden secret about that movie is that only the mom and the grandma were part of the cult, so they're the only ones rewarded. Because Paimon was the daughter.
Damn.
And so
Well,
the
I
son
wouldn't
and
say
the
the mother
husband.
was rewarded.
No, she was.
Yeah.
She was in the cult, but
She didn't have a head.
the son and the husband both went to hell or in eternal suffering, while the mom and the grandma are living it up large.
As headless corpses.
Yeah, I
Well,
still
no,
maintain the first
they-
half of that movie was way better than the second.
I can't believe God would send like you to hell. It's like, oh, well, you're a victim of a cult. You're gonna burn in hell. It's like, oh, thanks, God.
Like
Well,
when
they
it got to the
captured your
weird
soul, kid. Your soul is yours.
spiritual, supernatural stuff, that's when it got kind of boring.
You're telling me
Well,
that
kids,
God
he-
is
he-
so
he
weak he
smoked
can't
weed.
protect your soul?
Like I said,
He-
most horror movies or movies with demons fall in one of two categories. Either the demons are literally all powerful, unbeatable,
Like that
or
movie.
the second faith shows up, they wither away.
It's like, oh, a cross.
To be
Yeah.
fair, Gibbs, he was probably gonna go to hell anyway because he killed a person.
True. I mean, he
Like
could have
decapitated
repented.
him.
No, that's when the
Acting was
But they
actually pretty
didn't.
good, though.
He
But he
should've-
didn't, Gibbs.
Why didn't he repent a little bit, just to be sure?
I
Like,
don't
what if he was upstairs in the attic and he's like, I repent a little, and then like the fuck. All right,
Kib
you
is
can go.
the
All right.
Kib is the deathbed conversion guy.
What movie did we watch?
Hey,
Hereditary?
It's totally fair if I do that according to the rules. So if I go to hell anyways, I'll be very upset. Like, God, you lied to me. God, you lied to me. You said if I
Before we start
repented,
getting
I could
into
go in heaven.
actual topics of religion, moving on.
I could go to heaven. Stop! Just burns. Ah! Listen, I just find those possession movies funny. All right, I'm allowed to.
When he started getting chased, that was hilarious.
Don't.
I thoroughly enjoyed the mother's corpse just practically T-posing. Well, he wasn't actually T-posing, but it was
The fucking no
A-pose.
clipping up the ladder was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was a bit retarded. But what can one do when, things are retarded? All right, so back to the non-retarded subject of today. What? Okay. Now we have another good game. We streamed this the other day, and it was actually insanely good. It's called
Chat
Pragmata.
can even fund a thumbnail with photorealistic chatfish on it.
That's true. 25 per pocket, 50 per bucket. But this game is pretty good. It plays like Dead Space. It's not scary. I don't know why people
Not
said it was.
Quite.
It feels like Dead Space. It feels reminiscent. It's inspired by.
Its camera angles would like Dead Space.
It's very
You're
inspired.
just gonna stay here when this is all done?
But it's really good, actually.
What do you want?
Here, let me
Ice
spoil the
cream.
entire story in this trailer.
You know what? That's what I think is gonna happen here, because
Yeah.
that's what
Yes,
that
it
looks
is.
like. So we're gonna stop watching the trailer.
Look,
But yeah,
the thing with Japanese things is you never watch the trailers after the first 10 seconds because they'll spoil the entire goddamn story.
that's what it looked like it was gonna do. I'm gonna tell you the thing that I don't even know because I'm playing the game. Nope. Pause it. Don't keep your little rat mouth
Harlot
shut.
sends a membership.
Mute you, you dirty little shit. The game is doing
I'm playing
incredibly
it right
well.
now. Pretty great. It looks pretty fun. Not $60 fun personally, but that's just a personal
No, it
thing.
seems like it's actually a pretty good game, but yeah, I agree with Mamu. Just the only game I don't have a mild regret for paying $60 with Dead Space, and that still should have been $50.
Yeah, it's a bit
But
too
yes, it's
expensive,
surprisingly good.
in my opinion. But
Because I actually didn't feel like the new Resident Evil 4 was worth it. And those are the only 2 games I recently purchased that were that.
You mean Resident Evil 9?
No, the Resident Evil 4 remake.
That one's good though.
I don't think it's worth. I regret buying it at 60.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, everything at 60.
I didn't for Dead Space. I do for that.
Yeah. Also, thank you for the gifted membership, Harlot. Very generous. We appreciate your support for being British.
As a quick reminder, there is a personal bounty on Semper Tantrum, and there is 2 max tier bounties on Trusty and Decompresso.
Wow. That's double the bounties. But for what cost? Chatfish, kill them with guns instead.
It'll depend on your currency, $1.
Just start
Do
blast
you
them with
think
machine guns.
if we talk about Dead Space enough, we'll manifest a remake for Dead Space 2?
No, that's why I
No,
just give up.
because EA
on-
literally was like, we don't care how well it did. We're not
Yes, but-
making one.
We need to make.
We don't know. We honestly
We-
don't even know why we made this one. We
No, the
honestly-
only reason they
I
made it
know
is because the
because of
guy, the director of the remake,
it wasn't
basically
because of
got
him.
favors in.
It wasn't
get it.
because of him, actually. So the
Oh, really?
reason why the Dead Space remake, from what we know, why it became a thing, was not because of favors. That was the Command and Conquer story. That guy pulled favors and strings, and because the budget was incredibly small.
But no, the director.
In the
for
case
Dead
of
Space,
in the case of Dead Space, the reason why EA reached out to that particular director was because they saw that Resident Evil 2 remake did insanely well, and like, we want part of that pie. EA want pie, and so they reached out to the For Honor director, who had expressed interest in working on a project like that before, to create a Dead Space remake so that EA can get part of the horror pie that was basically returning. Because the big thing is that Resident Evil's re-release games following Resident Evil 7, like Resident Evil 2, did insanely good. And EA was like, oh my god, there's a huge market for that. We want into that again. It's the same reason why they got into it last time was because Resident Evil 4. They saw Resident Evil 4's success, and that's why Dead Space was made. It's ironic because it's the same reason why they got into it again. It was because of Resident Evil. That's the reason. It had nothing to do
Looking
with
over
it had nothing to do with strings. It had everything to do with it looked like it was going to make them a shit ton of money.
and it kind
It
of
just so happened that the director was super passionate about Dead Space, which happened to be a good thing as well. The stars
no, Dead
aligning.
Space remake did quite well, but they once again set absurd goals.
standards.
I actually don't know if the goals they set Resident Evil 2 remake even made.
Well, Dead Space, not to meander on this too long. Dead Space doesn't sell well, ever. And we already talked
No,
down this
but-
road. It's too scary.
Yeah.
Most people can't play it. It's too scary. And so it's got a super big niche audience. Or, well, it's got a big niche audience, but it's niche. And so the EA doesn't understand this, and EA is like, I want Dead Space to sell, like Resident Evil does, 9 million copies. Dead Space isn't going to push 9 million copies. It's at best going to push maybe 1 million, maybe 2 million.
It didn't even, but it doesn't matter that it actually did make them a good bit of money.
Doesn't
the end.
matter. They don't care.
didn't
They
reach
want
the goal.
9, they want 12, they want 10, whatever. They want 9 million copies. And it ain't pushing 9 million copies. As far as they're concerned, it's a loss. Because they want 9 million. 1 or 2 million ain't enough.
Because the EA executives still do not fundamentally do not understand the gaming market.
Well, they don't care. They just want the profits. And it's not producing that money. It's too scary. And it doesn't sell well because when polled, people are too scared of it. That's literally the polls are that. People say unanimously it's too scary, it's too intense, they won't play it. Resident Evil is not. It's more approachable. It has ups and downs. It has peaks and valleys. And
It's
because
very
it does,
funny.
Resident Evil also quickly got away from the actual horror.
after the third game, yeah. It's been an action game ever since.
Same for Dead Space 2, Dead Space as well. Dead Space 1 was a true horror game. Dead Space 2 is still scary, but is more action.
Actually,
And
Dead Space 1
3
is an
a
action
comedy.
game. They're all action games. They were never really survival horror. They have survival horror elements, but they're action games.
But I'm saying I just want to make the point that Dead Space 3 is a comedy.
Because the definition of action game is a game where you go into a level and the objective is to kill everything. And the only way to progress in Dead Space is to kill everything. Is to kill everything. But yeah.
That's not completely true. In the beginning of the game, you don't kill anything.
Jumbo, you and your goddamn semantics will get you fucking curb stomped into the bucket. It's like,
Good.
All right. So, next game is Windrose. Windrose came out and is doing relatively well. It seems, though, that the sales have pitter-pattered out. However, this game still sold like fucking hotcakes. Well, at least because I don't see the recent reviews thing, which means it's not getting a huge
It's
influx.
too early.
Yeah, maybe.
I believe
It had
for
like
it to
half a
have-
million players or something like that? Or was it 400,000?
I'll look it up.
I don't know
Let
what
me
the
open up
global count was.
Steam charts.
Steam had something. I thought the community hub showed that. Oh, it does actually. It has 181,000 players in game. Yeah, the game is
Currently.
doing pretty good. It's published in Japan by Pocket Pair Publishing. Interestingly enough, that's kind of weird, but yeah. And yeah, it's a
All
survival.
those.
It's another survival crafting-esque game, but it takes a lot of things from both Valheim and Dune Awakening. Dune Awakening has large like settlements that you can NPCs you can do quests for and stuff like that, and has a huge focus on questing, which is where the similarities with Dune Awakening lie. And Valheim, it takes a lot of different like base building, crafting inspirations from Valheim.
So I have the numbers. It's actually has still trending upwards.
Okay.
Its current all-time peak, which is apparently its 24-hour peak still, is 181,000.
Yep, on Steam. Was it released on any other platform?
I don't know.
That's still very good, by the way. That's insanely good. That's
It would probably be on the
incredibly
Unreal.
good.
It would probably be on the Epic Store.
Yeah, so this game's doing really good. Oh my god, I almost forgot about the Mouse PI.
It is
game.
on the Epic
There's
Store.
too many games that came out this week, goddammit, Chad. But yeah, this game's pretty good. If you like games like, I know this is gonna sound stupid. If you like games like Palworld, Valheim, Dune Awakening, you'll like this game. It's got a power progression system that is you can make incredibly broken stuff, and you can progress in your own server and then join your friends and bring your stuff over. So you can bring your own ship to other people's servers. So yeah, if you play this game, you can get incredibly far ahead of people, and then just like fucking flex with your insanely powerful ship and all that other stuff. So if you like flexing on others, this is a game for you. That's why I think it's a game Bucky would like, but he's not biting. He's just like looking at me funny. Look at him.
I
Not
refuse.
Californian enough.
He would bite. Not only would he bite, but he'd like nibble.
No, I don't think I will.
He's fighting. Chatfish, stab him. Like, but yeah, another thing to enter on the wish list. It is early access, so no need to really rush out and get this game. Same for Pragmata. It's also a little expensive. Might be best to wait for a sale for that one. It's also single player for Pragmata. In the case of Windrose, it is fun, but there are some problems with it, and it obviously needs a little bit more work. Then some fleshing out. But it is a cute game
Yes.
nonetheless. And the other and final game we have that came out this week was a game that it's actually, in my opinion, it's actually almost overshadowed. It is a very artistically really interesting game and pretty fun. It's the Mouse PI for Hire game. But this game came out, it's basically just a boomer shooter set in a sort of detective noir themed in the 1930s in an alternate reality where you play as a mouse and there's like a conspiracy about the shrews, where the shrews are being like horrible things are being done to them. And it kind of reminds me of what you guys told me the plot of that one Zootopia movie was. One of you did. I think it was Beano probably. Where
Probably Beano.
it feels like there's like racial tensions between shrews and mice, and there's some sort of like going ons and like it's an investigation into what's going on there. The animations are spectacular in this game, and the art style entirely carries it. It's entirely done in black and white for artistic reasons, and I think it's a fucking awesome game, in my opinion. If you like boomer shooters or classic style shooters where you explore and there's like, you know, levels and boss fights and stuff like that to them, this is another one of those games from that boomer shooter renaissance that is merely another one for the pile of many good ones. Very much carried by its art style, though.
It was made to take advantage of the Steamboat Willie being made like free use for
Public. You know.
public domain.
Yes, that was the big inspiration as to why it eventually became its own thing. Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
It's pretty interesting. It's also pretty damn long. I only have like 5 hours into it, but it felt like it was going to go on for a very long time because I only have like a fraction of the guns. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything on today's Bunchcast. Mostly just new game releases.
Does it? What about the Zomboid news?
Oh, Budge Biscuits.
Damn
Yep, big news.
kids. Damn.
Kip, you didn't say a real swear. You become chubby.
Yeah, the new build release news.
Goddamn chumpus. It's a goddamn chumpus.
Chumpy cow.
So, location. New sandbox location options. For sandbox players, there is now an option to choose from each exclusion zone, towns to start in when creating a new sandbox game. This gives players more options when starting up custom gameplay scenarios. When choosing this option, please keep in mind that occupational spawns are not supported outside of the 4 canon starting towns, and your spawn location will be much more static when using non-canon points, as they've not finished them. So, for example, in Project Zomboid, when you make different characters with different backgrounds, it affects where they spawn from, who they spawn as, whether they spawn as like a police officer, a firefighter, a burglar, or a cook, or a fast food worker, or a ranger, whatever, would affect where you spawn, what buildings, and what your starting gear is. Because the idea is that it's role-playing. The new towns, because they've expanded the map tremendously. I will show you how much in just a second here by pulling up the Project Zomboid map. That's going to blow your little fucking minds open. So here we have the Project Zomboid map. So if you guys are familiar and you played Project Zomboid with us before, Louisville, Valley Station, West Point, like Muldra, March Ridge, and Rosewood, and Falls Lake and Riverside, this sort of like box area I'm drawing with my mouse is kind of what the game was, including Louisville. This whole fucking section over here, which almost is like a third of the map size doubled over, is expanding it. Not only that, but there too, and other areas as well. So like they've been adding a shit ton of little towns throughout this game, like Echo Creek.
Yeah, you could actually do farming if you did it right.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. Like the rural area got massively expanded. There's a waste tree. I think that's a metal factory, actually, if I remember right. AMZ Steel. There's actually big proper farmsteads with animals. And like here you can see there's definitely going to be cows here, which will be actually really good because it's part of the animal update. Like there's so much stuff.
We can make so many Chatfish burgers out of the cows.
The map is fucking colossal. And they've added whole other towns to the map and increased the highway's size massively.
Imagine having to walk from one town to another, Kibbs.
That would be hell on this earth, my dude. You'd have to pack food because you'd starve to death. Oh my god! Actually, I've done that. I've walked from Riverside to West Point, and I'll tell you what that was. That
fucking
sucked,
sucks.
and it took 2.5 hours. So like, never again.
Did you just follow like the road? to go there?
I've basically followed like this little river road here path, and I walked from point to point.
Just they're going to add an additional secret army base.
There might be new secrets. I don't even know. There's a bunch of new stuff.
There's
also updated
secrets about the map.
The new areas, or the old areas, also got updated. There's also basements now that were added to the old areas.
Yep.
I want a missile silo or something.
This is actually a map of Knox County. Is there any missile silos in this location? Because all these towns are real. This whole location is real. I believe this is north-ish. Yeah.
Looking forward to how this game is when it's finally complete, says Pondozan.
This game is going to be incredible. It already is incredible.
I can't wait for bandits to become a thing, so we actually have to use stealth.
I can't wait for
You have to add dogs and
being able
horses
to repopulate the planet.
Yeah, but like bandits would actually like be more deadly than the fucking biters because they have guns. And there's like very few items.
They have to really adjust how gun damage works against people, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game is fucking giga massive. There is so much stuff you can do in this game. It is actually insane.
You know what that reminds me, Kibbs?
What?
We need to check State of Decay 3.
Oh boy, I don't. I'm
Actually,
worried
had a
about that
coworker
game.
tell me about how excited he is for that because apparently they're gonna do a beta,
Yeah, they are doing a beta
and
program.
apparently they have already done a bit of a beta program, but it was just the Reddit moderator team that got to play, and they've been praising it, but it's the Reddit moderator team, so
Yeah, I'm more curious to see what happens when people get their hands on it, because there are two zombie games that I really like: State of Decay and Project Zomboid are like my favorite zombie games of all time. State of Decay, for those who don't know, is more action, more third person. It's basically Project Zomboid, but a little bit more simple. It doesn't
that's
have
an
as more advanced
insult.
mechanics. No, it's not. They are similar. They are. I played both these games a lot, so I know because I'm smart and wise beyond my years. It's like, what the fuck?
Doubt.
State of Decay, the cool thing about it is that it has survivors in it. You can build up towns and you can level up different characters and stuff. And that's kind of cute. Project Zomboid wants to have that feature, but they said that they're not going to add it until they're done with all the other mechanics because they want to make sure that when they do the people, that they can do bandits. Because the idea of the people on Project Zomboid is that you'll be able to form your own faction. You'll be able to join existing factions, if I remember right. You'll be able to have spouses and relations with other characters, becoming friends with them. And there will be bandit factions and stuff like that that will form naturally, as the world will have a static population. And that static population can be exterminated or can be grown. So you'll be able to build actual cities. You'll be able to reclaim parts of cities. And the goal of the game, Project Zomboid, is that it starts at the beginning of the apocalypse and it goes through the collapse of civilization and to the rebirth of civilization. Because what they want in the end is that you're actually able to restart, like building and making things again and turning things back on. It's about the restoration of humanity. It's literally it's the old Fallouts, if you remember those. It's about the nature of like collapse, but it's also about the nature of perseverance. The fact that humanity will rebuild itself from the ashes, and that's what makes it special. That's what I like about it quite a bit. But yeah. That's the Project Zomboid stuff. Let's go back to the update because I haven't finished looking at it yet. Do I have it open on my Steam? No. I could just probably pull it up through here, though, because it'd be a lot faster, because, you know.
All right, I gotta go.
Take care, buddy.
We're losing our Bucky Bucky.
Have a good one, Buckamus.
The yucky Bucky.
Balance tweaking, loot adjustments, ongoing controller, work in progress. Okay, so nothing major, really. But it is making... That new starting location thing is pretty good. It means that those new towns are going
That's
to be
the big
implemented
thing.
soon.
Yeah, but
Yep.
then
But
tweaks and
Kibbs-
balance changes.
But Gibbs, importantly, the plush. Show the
So the plush. Okay, I will.
plush.
You never know. Somebody might want one. I don't know.
It's cute.
It's adorable. Yes. But yeah, I love this game. It's pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty much all the gaming news for this week. Again, kind of a slow week. There were some developments, but nothing too crazy. Things are kind of meandering, it seems, lately. Nothing.
I think I died, and so yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's been a slow week in terms of, like, developments in general, both positive and negative. Granted,
New games came out.
Yeah, a bunch of new games came out. That was the big thing. It was like just a bunch of
They were good.
tightly released good games. Total WoW died, and Squealy will now have more free time for us. So that's good. He's like, what the fuck?
I stopped playing the game to play with you guys. By the way, don't even.
And don't even. Yeah. So this is a good thing, is how I see it, chat. Just like,
I'll have to find something else to fill my time.
well, yeah. We're gonna be prepping for the next stream now, but what's the next stream now, Trumpus?
Oh,
It's up to Kip to decide.
Do we do Project Zomboid now, or what are we doing?
given that Indio and Show aren't here, probably no.
Okay. In that case, we'll probably do Mass Effect. I have to guess, so we can try to beat that, try to get through that, and we can include some Dono Wars in there. Also, chat, thank you again for your generous donations. We really appreciate it, and it means a great deal to me. and all the things you do. Whether you pop by the stream, whether you like the stream, whether you just hang out, it all adds up. We will be raiding into the next stream, which I'll be setting up now. I would like to actually do Pragmata, but I did promise I would stream Mass Effect once a week at least, so we can beat the
We
game.
also have to fund the thumbnail for Pragmata.
Oh my god, chat, you're gonna cuck me from playing the game till you get the thumbnail funded, like
Yeah.
the little bastards you are.
Any more detective mouse man.
In fact, that would be the ideal thing, kids.
That's gonna be having a hard deadline then, because I need to stream that and actually beat that next week. So that's gonna be Lemony Snicket has to be funded this weekend. All right, next, where are we doing it? Where is it? Where's the thumbnail, Chatfishes? I can't find it. The Lord of Rape's adventures continue.
Don't forget,
Oh
chat.
wait, no. Like,
This is your last week to get on the Part 2 Mass Effect thumbnail.
All right, scheduling that stream. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. I hope you guys are having a good weekend, by the way, Chatfish. I hope you're all being happy little lads, doing happy little stuff. I'm going to have something exciting for
I'm
you
not.
next week, by the way. And if I don't have something exciting for you next week, I will probably be entering a state of severe depression. So
forever.
it's going to be one or that. If I don't have something exciting for you, probably Tuesday, I think I'm going to kill myself. And this might be the last time I ever talk to you guys, so.
Have you considered not killing yourself?
No, I don't know if I want to. If I don't have the thing I want ready for chat next week, I think I'm just gonna end it. I think I'm gonna die of anticipation because I've been wanting to show chats for so long, and it's kind of driving me insane. Really, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. And if it's not ready by next week, I think I'm just gonna finally just done diddly kib myself.
I also lied.
Done diddly
The Mass
kib.
Effect Part 2 is already entered production.
Good.
Well, it's in the Trello.
Good. Okay, Kip. It was nice watching your streams. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed them while I was alive. That's what really counts,
And kid.
right? Those who were there while I was still kicking. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the Mass Effect stream. The Mass Effect stream is gonna start in a few minutes. I'm gonna make lunch, or like a lunch dinner real quick. I'm just gonna whip up something fast. What do I have that can
Make something filling, kid, so you're not starving halfway through.
I am gonna make something filling. I have leftovers
I don't
from last
believe you.
night. It's like a sandwich. or
He's
something.
gonna deep throat some hot dogs.
So we're gonna
He
start in
will.
about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll see you guys there. Take care, chat, and don't forget to take good care of yourselves, Chatfish. I'm joking, by the way. I know some of you don't know if I'm joking, but I'm just gonna clarify that.
He's
before
gonna
I-
kib himself.
I'm joking. I'm just really excited and looking forward to showing you guys something next week. And if I can't show it to you, I'm just gonna be really, really agitated. Is what I will be. I will be a little angry about it, but I will get over it eventually. So I'll see you guys in the next stream. And for those who I don't see you there, you have a fantastic day. See you in a little bit, guys.
See ya.
Have a good one.